what would you define as success?
Success is when you don't have to wake up in the morning and worry. Success is when the business runs itself. You can up the ROI, and that's where you'll get a bargain. That's what you look for. That's what I look for. You're going to invest in something that will give you a security that tomorrow, if the market, anything happens to it, it's not going to collapse. So you lose half your money. You're going to buy something that's future-proofed, crash-proof, a business that you can run relative to what you've paid for it will give you at least a 15% return. That's what I look for. From what I understood from locals we were dealing with, you think this is big? This is only 10% of what His Highness has in his mind for Dubai. And they were right, we were wrong. People did come. The whole world has come to see what Dubai is all about.
Hello and welcome to Making Moves. Today I'm joined by a very successful entrepreneur and property investor, Mr. Dilip Daswani.
Hello, Mark. How are you?
I'm very well, Dilip. How are you?
Excellent. Really happy to be here, and thank you for inviting me.
Oh, great to have you on. I'm very interested to obviously hear about your experience in Dubai. I'm sure it's going to be a very interesting and inspiring podcast. So Dilip, obviously you've had tremendous success in Dubai. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey and what led you to Dubai?
Okay. So I was born in Hong Kong, actually. And when we moved from Hong Kong, my father took us to the UK. And when we moved there, my studies and everything was carried out there. I have two brothers as well who are still living in London. Mom and dad still are there as well. But when we started working, I was working with my father first. And he got sick, so his business failed. I had to find a job. So I started working for Royal Mail Parcel Force. And when I started working for them, it was really enjoyable. I learned a lot of different things with the Parcel Force, the way of how to manage things, how to administer things. And I was with them for about 10 years. When the Asian financial crisis struck, I was made redundant there.
Okay.
So I had to find something else.
Yeah.
And I found another job, but that didn't last long because there was some issues with the company as well. Mm-hmm. I then decided to see what we could do outside the UK. And Dubai was a natural choice because of what was happening in 2000. Just to give you an idea, that was about 2004. Mm-hmm. And from 2001 onward, Dubai had started coming in the papers and becoming very, very popular as a destination. So I decided to move here. We had some family here, and they said, yes, it's a good place, and you're making a good decision, come here. And I came here to start, I don't know what at that time. Yeah. It was just a hit and miss. We were leaving behind the UK schools, medical, cars, a paid up home, everything was there. It was all set up, it was all there. Yeah. So to come here was a bit of a risk, was a bit of a gamble with two small children. But we decided that with the money we get from the rent of the property, we could probably survive here for about a year until we needed to start making money here. Mm-hmm. I didn't come here to work. I came here to actually start my own business. Okay. So when we got here, it started off in a nice way. We actually took a house in the Meadows. Mm-hmm. And people said, where are you going? Because at that time, Meadows was the end of the world. Okay. There was nothing after the Meadows. Right. And they were like, everybody used to live in Dubai. Our community stayed predominantly in Dubai. So they said, you're going out there. There's not even a shop out there. And it was true because we had to come for shopping all the way to Carrefour at City Centre in Dera. Because even MOE was not built at that time. Yeah. It was under construction, but not built. Mm-hmm. So we started working. I was working with my father-in-law and my brother-in-law. We formed a company called Capital Real Estate in 2005. And we started looking at properties. We started buying properties, which we could rent because there was the freehold market didn't exist at that time. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't very popular. So what we did was we bought to rent, to sublease. And when we bought those properties, within 6 to 7 months, we found that the market started coming up. It was that from that 2004 to 2007 when Dubai started to boom for the first time. Okay. And when we bought this compound of warehouses, it gave us an immediate idea of what the market was. and we bought it and sold it, and we made a substantial amount of money in the first deal. So what we did was we started buying other warehouses in Awir, in Al Quoz, Rashidia, these common, local areas, as what you would say. But there's only so much money that you can use to buy. So then we came up with another idea, was that what we would do is we would rent warehouses and sublease them. So that's where Capital Real Estate came in.
Okay.
And we took a management license, which allowed us to manage other people's properties. So we actually had to put substantial guarantees with the economic department, which we did. We started to rent from locals. So in effect, we became the landlord. We paid them for a 3, 5, 10-year lease. And then we started subleasing these properties.
Okay.
And that's where we started developing into other properties. We started with warehouses first, and then it sort of went into offices, buildings, and apartments.
Yeah. So, obviously, I know you've had tremendous success with what you've done. Could you take us back to maybe those early days and the kind of main challenges that you faced, and how did you overcome them?
In those days, Dubai was very, very different. Dubai was very facial. You had to go everywhere to do it face to face. It was in the old system that you can't do. There was nothing on computer. There was nothing online. It was all, you had to visit everywhere physically and in person. And at that time, they themselves were not sure of how things were going to work out. They had many things in place, which you have to give credit to Dubai, because they were looking to build, which they have phenomenally done since the last 20 years. But when I came here for the first time, which was in 2001, for a trip or a visit, the Hard Rock Cafe, which was at Dubai Marina, was the last point.
Oh, wow.
After that, there was nothing. JLT was not built. JLT was sand.
Yep.
Dubai Marina was sand. The only buildings that existed in Dubai Marina were the 6 Emaar buildings, the original Emaar buildings.
Yeah.
And then when you put your foot down, when you got out of the car, you put your foot down, it was sand.
Wow.
So those are the sort of challenges. It was still very, very fresh. Dubai was still growing, understanding what it wanted to do and how it wanted to do it.
Yeah.
Today, when we were living in the Meadows, when you came off Sheikh Zayed Road, Meadows entrance started as immediately at Sheikh Zayed Road. Now it's pushed all the way back. The roads have become super highways, and you see a completely different infrastructure. The road systems have changed so much to accommodate the traffic. And we were thinking at that time, how is he doing this? Where are all these people coming from that His Highness is thinking that's going to happen?
Yeah.
But His Highness has got a different vision.
Yeah.
And from what I understood from locals we were dealing with, because we had sponsors, and they were saying, you think this is big? This is only 10% of what His Highness has in his mind for Dubai. And they were right. We were wrong. People did come. People have come. And Dubai today is something which is amazing, where the whole world has come to see what Dubai is all about. And most of them have come and stayed and started businesses and living here.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, this is why we're all here now, isn't it? Because it's set up that way. I mean, I can imagine when you were going through those times when you were getting set up, it must have been really challenging. And, how did you keep motivated when you were going through the most difficult times in your career?
The motivation for me was very simple. I don't know whether I should tell you this or not, but my motivation, I love cars, I love watches. And whenever I used to feel very, very down, I actually went to Gargash, and I had brought the Mercedes, the S-Class catalog, and I put it on my windowsill. And it wasn't one of those fancy dancy offices. It was one of those in the old Dubai area, which is like, it's an old building. It had a window AC, so there was no split ACs even. That's how simple it was. And I put this book on the windowsill, and every time I got demotivated, I looked up and I said, I'm working for that. And I wanted the S-Class because I'd fallen in love with the S-Class since I was 10 years old. And I actually finally got my S-Class.
Amazing.
So that motivation was there, because you need to have a goal in life.
Yeah.
You need to know where you're going, what do you want to do, because simply going round and round is not going to solve anything. You need to know and focus in what you want in life. And this is what I tell my kids, you guys need to know what you want in life, and then you need to head towards that goal.
Yeah, because I bet there was times where you thought that maybe success was going to be, unlikely or distant. I bet there was times where in your career you thought, what have I done? Kind of thing.
Well, within the first 6 months of coming to Dubai, I was secretly thinking that what have I done and what have I have to go back. And suddenly it all changed with buying these warehouses and selling the first one. Then, then you get that confidence. And then you feel that, okay, we know now what we're doing and what we need to focus in on as a business.
It was like a breakthrough moment when you done that. Yeah.
Very much. And believe it or not, when we decided to sell, at that time there were no brokers. There was not that many agents in Dubai. And all I did was I sent a flyer, which I made on a Word document, through the fax machine. I sent out about 70 faxes personally. And suddenly somebody called me and said, I've got your fax and I've got somebody who wants to invest in a warehouse. Can we meet? And that was it. The deal was done.
Wow.
We did that within 7 months of buying the first warehouse. And it's a local compound. It's a local warehouse. So you cannot even buy it in your own name. You actually have to buy it in your sponsor's name. So you're not. It was local land. It's not. There was no such thing as freehold in those areas.
Yep. And I mean, obviously, when you're making a financial decision like that, there's going to obviously be a lot of risk factors. How do you kind of defy taking the risk? And have you taken any risks in the past where people had advised you not to take? And how did it turn out?
Well, we as a team under Capital Real Estate is led by my father-in-law, Mr. Goban Sakrani. And I work with him and my brother-in-law, Raveen Sakrani. So my father-in-law is a absolute entrepreneur. He is a risk taker. He can see potential where we could not in those days. It was just impossible for us to understand what he was looking at. And he dragged us through the sand and the water by our necks and said, you're going to do this deal. And he's the motivator there. And yeah, we were scared. We were worried. Raveen and I were like, what is he doing? And we only had a limited amount of source of funds. No bank will lend you money. It's got to be your own personal funds. Yeah. But yeah, he had that vision. He could see it. And he taught us what we know today.
Amazing.
And the risks, yes, there were risks. Some did turn out to be okay and some didn't. And yes, we have lost money in Dubai. Nobody has come through Dubai without losing money. Everybody has made and lost here. It's not an easy market. No market is easy. Every market that you go to, you have to evaluate. But then again, if you don't take a risk, you cannot make.
Yeah. Well, so if you could travel back in time, what advice would you give to your younger self that was starting off in those days?
I would tell myself that, look, think before you talk, think before you act, but make sure that you can see potential when it hits you in the face. Even coming to Dubai was a opportunity that I wasn't ready to take. I'm not a risk taker. I never was. We grew up in a family that was very, very relaxed and we didn't gamble. It was not a gambling type of thing. But now, when going back, as you say, if I had to tell myself, yes, I would have taken a little bit more risk. Yes, there is danger, but without that, you can't make money. And coming to Dubai was a risk. But if I hadn't come, I wouldn't be where I was today. I'd still be probably working for somebody in the UK. Yeah.
And I suppose over that time, you've probably developed like an investment philosophy. How has that evolved? And obviously in the context of Dubai's unique real estate market, how would you kind of advise on that?
See, I haven't gone into the norm, which is where everyone has gone, apartments and villas. I actually started buying villas originally in Arabian ranches.
Yep.
I've lived in pretty much all the areas. I've lived in Emirates Hills. I've lived in the Meadows. I've lived in the Palm. I've seen all of it. But I feel that there's one area which we have made good money on and has always been successful. Even through COVID, it was a little bit less. But after COVID, it's boomed, and that's the commercial area, offices. Whenever I made money, I kept on buying offices in Business Bay primarily, because at that time that was the area that was coming up as commercial. So when we started buying those offices, I didn't know that it would be this successful as it is today. Because there was a time in COVID also when they were saying work from home. And offices were becoming empty and the rates had come down. But today, with commercial, there are queues of companies coming in because of what Sheikh Mohammed has done with the licensing, where he's been able to remove the local sponsor. That's encouraged a lot of people to come here. The Golden Visa has given a big push for people to come here so that you can live freely for 5-10 years without having to do that every 2 years or 3 years as it was before. So yeah, for me, commercial has been very, very successful. I've got that as my, what you would say, pension, my future pension. And that's where I make, apart from Capital Real Estate, that's my actual personal investments. Capital Real Estate is a joint company which works with still warehouses that are owned by locals. And then we sublease them. But the personal stuff is all in the commercial side. And those are freehold, as you know.
So, I mean, obviously, you've had quite an experience dealing with warehouses, commercial, you've invested. What's the kind of main indicators, the key indicators that you would evaluate when you're looking to make a new investment opportunity? And, you know, how, whether it be, say, investing into a property or a business?
It has to be sensibly priced, number one. It has to have a demand in the area. That's what I look at. I don't look at ROIs, because ROIs, I think you have to make the ROI. People look when they're buying, when I'm selling something, what's the ROI? What's the ROI? I don't think that's important. You can up the ROI, and that's where you'll get a bargain. If you're going to look for ROI, then they're going to ask for the price relative, and that reflects the ROI. You want something actually that's empty, vacant, where you can set up the tenant or the business that you want to do in that property. And that will give you a bargain. That's what you look for. That's what I look for. I don't necessarily look for the most shiny or off plan or something that's going to be built and being issued by a developer. I actually look at the secondary market. I find that there are people out there who need to sell, who want to dispose of a property. Maybe, you see, they have been holding from a long time and they've paid the original prices in the old boom, 2008, 2004, where the prices were very much higher than what they're actually selling it for today. But they feel that it's not going to go further than this. They've made a decision that they want to pull out, and whatever they get is good with them. But for us, it's below today's market price. And if they do market at today's price, they won't get a seller, because these are old buildings, but in the freehold area. And they're quality buildings because they've been built in the old way. Nowadays, buildings are built fast. They're built with gypsum. These are all the structure of the building, the quality, the build is what I look for. I want to see something that's going to last another 50, 60 years. And these are the ones that you're looking at. You know, you're looking at there are certain A grade buildings in Business Bay. There's B grade and there's even C grade. When you have money, you don't mind. If you're going to use it for yourself, you would buy A grade and you'd buy the most expensive because you know it's for yourself. But if you're going to make money, you're going to invest in something, you need to be able to buy something that will give you a security that tomorrow when if the market, anything happens to it, it's not going to collapse. So you lose half your money. You're going to buy it something that's future-proofed, crash-proof, that will give you a business that you can run relative to what you've paid for it, will give you at least a 15% return. That's what I look for.
Okay. So 15% is the kind of minimum. You look for. And, you know, when you're looking at these kind of properties, and even just, you know, when you're starting off to look for another investment, how do you determine, you know, what sectors or what types of property to invest in? You know, how do you kind of go about getting the information on it?
I get a lot of brokers because my name is in the land department as a buyer. And mostly what I do is I actually buy full office floors. I buy and sell those. So when they see that many transactions going on and now everything is in the open, it's not hidden. You can see what I paid for it. You can see who I bought it from. You can see everything about the property. So when they see that, I get naturally a lot of calls from other brokers who want to obviously get in the action and sell something to me so that they can make their commission, which is fine by me. But I tell them, look, if you're going to offer me something which is off plan and it's today's market rate is this, I'm not interested. I want something that someone would, in inverted commas, say is a distressed deal.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
If I'm going to buy, I want something that's less than market, but has something that's very, what you would say, a feature that would make it special for me to be interested in that property.
Yeah.
Like, for example, I've just picked up a floor last year. And what we did with that was, it was actually, when I went to see it, it was already a defunct business center. It was in Business Bay, in one of the nicer towers, what I would grade as an A-grade tower. So I had an idea that I would like to open a business center, which was a 10-year-old wish. But it came to me, this was already had the partition, but somebody had just left it, not paid, whatever. I don't know what was the situation, but they had left it and the landlord wanted to sell. We sat down, we made a deal, we got the property, and I rebuilt it and we labeled it the Jet Set Business Center, which is doing phenomenally well. It's about 1.5 years old now. And it's been voted in Dubai from Let's Work, it's been voted the best newcomer business center in Dubai.
Wow.
So we have, what I've put in there is something that I feel is like what I would want from a business center. No, I've not looked at it from making the money point of view. I've actually put a lot more money investment in it. I've upgraded it. I've made it with a coffee shop. I've made it with meeting rooms. I've made it with a huge reception. And I've even colored the logo in the colors of the United Arab Emirates flag, because I salute them, because what they've done today. Where can you go? Which country can you go to that in 7 days you can become a citizen? You can do what you want here, of course, legally. And freedom to work, safety for the children, safety in terms of your health, your life. Everything that they give you here today is... you have to have major respect for this country, because they have really done it. So I've even got the logo of the company is under the 4 colors of the United Arab Emirates flag. Yeah.
I've obviously had the privilege of seeing the Jet Set Business Centre, and you can tell every little detail has been meticulously planned. And it's no wonder that you've obviously got a list of people that are looking to book in every time someone leaves. So, what, in your experience, how do you kind of manage when there's uncertainty in the market and say any market volatility? How do you kind of navigate that and protect yourself? What kind of strategies do you have in place for your own investments when there's a downturn?
With those sort of things, of course, we can never understand what will cause a downturn. When anything happens in the world, Dubai always seems to come on top, because everyone feels that this is knows that this is a safe haven. So whenever something goes wrong outside, unless it's a financial issue, which we saw in 2007 and 8, that affected the whole market and the whole world at the same time. But wars and issues around the area, people tend to flock here. Similarly with the Ukraine and the Russian war at the moment, even all of those people have come here for safety, to bring their kids, wives, families, have come here. So when there is a downturn, and of course, no market will keep going up forever. There will inevitably be something that will cause something to either soften or slow down. I wouldn't want to call it a downturn, because the way we are going here is, I don't want to be negative. I'm positive about this country, and I'm positive about this city. And I feel that today, if you do things right, you shouldn't feel a downturn. So what I have done is, even if half our properties are filled, we're still covered. We can still survive. So that's assuming that 50% vacate, which is, I am a landlord and I am an owner of properties, which is financed. So I need to make sure that even if 50% is vacant, we can still survive and pay what we need to pay to get through the period that we're going to be facing an issue.
I see. And obviously, with the kind of your experience over the last 20 years, how have you seen the Dubai real estate market evolve over that time? And what kind of major trends do you think will shape the future for Dubai and the real estate market?
I've seen in 20 years so much change in the real estate market. It's unbelievable. Like I said, we started working with local properties, warehousing, local areas like Naif, Sabka, Burjuman, Dubai, all of those old areas which were Dubai initially. And today, the way that I get calls on freehold properties to buy from agents every day, it must be at least around about 10 to 15 calls per day. The market has actually gone in a completely spectacular way. And it has found a market for people who want to invest even as secondary homes. Even if they don't live here, they want a home in Dubai. Everyone wants something to say they own a piece of Dubai. And Dubai, even for the old age, for youngsters, for anyone, it's still affordable. You can still buy a studio, depending on area-wise. You can still buy a studio anywhere from 250,000 dirhams. And then, of course, the sky's your limit. You can buy stuff on the palm. And as you've seen, villas have gone for prices which are unbelievable. And could not be believed maybe 3-4 years in COVID. I mean, things were going for like 6 to 8 million, and the same villa today is going for 60 and up to 100 million. So I cannot imagine. It's like you can't understand what's going on here. And long may it continue. I hope it continues forever. But the market here, what we've seen in the last 20 years has gone from being a child who was born, to a toddler who was taking its first steps, to now a mature adult market which can walk and support and behave in a problem like it didn't do before. There were issues before. The market collapsed. It'll never collapse like it collapsed before. This market is now mature. The other thing was that at that time, people, when they lost their jobs or they would leave Dubai, or they would have to leave Dubai. The Sheikh has changed all of those rules. Immigration is now completely different in Dubai. You can stay on even if you lose your job. You can change job if you like. You can actually stay on here even if you don't have anything, and look for other opportunities. And that's what's made the change. And also you've got people here now who are actually long-term residents. And properties will not crash because these people have bought their houses and are going to stay in the house no matter what happens. Even if it goes from 1 million up to 10 million, they won't sell, because if you sell, where do you go? So it has become a much stronger scenario here now. It won't crash. It can't crash because people like me, people like who are coming in, so many friends and relatives asking about Dubai, so many people coming from Hong Kong, from the UK, from Singapore. We want to come there. And all of those, even the main thing obviously is India. India has a lot of people coming here. They feel secure here. They want something here. And everybody knows, luckily for Dubai, they feel it's safe and secure, and the language is not a barrier. Everyone speaks English here. Hindi obviously is like practically second for foreigners, I'm saying. But very, very good. I mean, I don't think there's going to be any issues in the future if it crashes, it'll crash maybe 10%, 20%. It won't crash like it crashed before. I know in those days, the Emirates Hills had gone up to, you bought something for 10 or 11, it gone to 33 million, came back straight back down to 11. It will never do that ever again. Those people who think it's going to happen like that, you're mistaken. It will not happen. It will come down maybe 5-10 million. That's about it.
I mean, obviously, you've had a lot of success with it. Have you ever considered potentially investing internationally, or how would you kind of weigh up the risk? Like you're saying, you're talking about stability, you're talking about the market, the safety, everything's kind of set up for you to come and invest here. What would you weigh up the risk with investing locally compared to globally?
Many people tell me that, you're investing here so much. Don't you get scared? Don't you get worried? I said, I don't think so. Because if there is a fear, then the rules in federal government would be different. Mm-hmm. They wouldn't be opening the doors and welcoming thousands of people every day.
Yeah.
If they didn't want people here, they wouldn't let you in the first place.
Yeah.
It's simple. So you have to, those people who are talking like that are those who haven't invested or don't have anything here and don't understand how the United Arab Emirates works. Mm-hmm. They are asking for people to come here. And I have invested overseas. I had, in my hometown, I had about 3 to 4 properties in London. Mm-hmm. I had 1 property in Hong Kong, which is where I was born and brought up. And I also bought something in Malaysia.
Okay.
To tell you the truth, I've sold everything.
Really?
And I have actually closed everything, including the UK, which is where I come from originally. The UK is where my original residency is there. And I have a UK passport. I've sold everything. I don't intend to go back. This is home. Mm-hmm. I have transferred all the money over here and I have invested everything in here and I'm the happiest person to do so. Mm-hmm. The reason being is because today I know whatever I've got is in front of me.
Yeah,
I can manage it. I don't have to ask anyone to do things for me overseas.
Yeah.
And by doing that, I'm in full control of what I want. Not that I'm a control freak or anything, but I don't like to trouble somebody who to please, can you go and check this and that? It's a lot of effort for somebody else who's not bothered or not going to charge you for something.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's better to have everything in here. And I think it was the best move that I made. I cleared up everything.
Yep.
And everything is here. And my kids are here. My wife is here. We all live here. And my wife and children also have another business as well. Mm-hmm. So they work... but they help me with all the properties. They're all part of it. We are on the trade license. Mm-hmm. We're all mentioned as partners and managers.
So it's all set up for the family, which it should be.
Yeah, we're not going anywhere. We've made Dubai our home. Mm-hmm. We will not be leaving Dubai.
It's interesting because, I'm obviously fairly new to Dubai compared to obviously the length of time you've been here. But I think there's a lot of interest with people where to invest, especially in the UK. A lot of people I speak to, they've probably never thought of investing in Dubai. They're still looking at investing in the UK, flipping properties, these kind of things. So it's interesting to hear that you've sold everything up, especially in London, which is like one of the most expensive places in the world to buy property, and move everything over to Dubai. I think another kind of question on that. So say, for example, if someone started thinking of investing today, what would be the first piece of information that you would give them? What's the kind of specific steps or strategies they should focus on? My advice to somebody would be start small. Mm-hmm. Don't overdo it. Don't go and get boggled with investment plans and off-plan properties. I know people will kill me for saying that, but those are things that could take a long time to come. Yeah. And your money is then invested with that developer or that company. I would suggest that if somebody has whatever they have as a saving, invest that into something that's built so you can actually immediately, which is my theory, invest in something that you can see, you can have the key in your hand, you can either live in it or rent it out and get a return immediately. Mm-hmm. That's what I would do. I would not overstretch. I would not buy something which is going to come in 3-4 years. Mm-hmm. And I would definitely not go for payment plans. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Buy what you can afford. Yeah. And today you can actually sell it. If you have an issue, you can get out of it straight away. Do you think that's where some people maybe go wrong? The people who do come to Dubai, obviously there's a certain lifestyle that you can live here and it's easy to get caught up in it. I mean, you as an investor, do you have a kind of set principle where you would put money aside for investments? How would you kind of manage it when you're looking to acquire new assets?
We are very fortunate. We have a very good line of credit, which we use for the properties. And we use that to purchase, excuse me. And with that helps us a lot in immediately closing deals.
Okay, yeah.
We just have to basically point out the property. We then get an offer from the bank, and we can close, and then we start. Obviously, the bank will take, and because we are doing it for business, we're not living in it or renting it ourselves. We actually would start to get an income from that property. So the basic thing is that the property's income would go directly to the bank to pay its fees and charges.
So that would give you an upper hand in the sense of maybe closing a significant deal, because I think we've heard the phrase "time kills deals." Is that something that you would agree with?
Definitely. There was a time. Now, it's taken me 20 years to get to this stage. So you cannot come to this stage unless you have built a portfolio.
Yeah.
So when you have a portfolio, that is your asset value. And against that asset value is what the bank is looking at to give you money. So for me, having built that and having paid off a lot of it was giving that to the bank as their guarantee so that we could buy stuff in today's market and fast, because a normal mortgage or a normal funding would take, I don't know, 2 to 3 months. And by that time, the deal is gone. And nobody will sign a Form F, which is the form that you sign between buyer and seller. And they don't want to go more than 45 days, or maximum up to the limit is 60 days. And after that, you're in default. So, but I've got to, say that today we are fortunate because we have such good backers. And they could see from what we've done with the business center that was bought by the bank, the property. And we started the idea of the business center. It started, it flourished, and it's making money. So the bank is very happy. They're saying, okay, now buy more. So when you get that sort of push from behind, it's fantastic. What more do you want? You got people who are ready to give you money. But of course, based on what we've done, our track record is very, very good with the bank. So they have no issues in giving us money.
And, from that aspect, obviously you're talking about key relationships here and getting the back. And how important is networking and relationships in the real estate market?
Very important. I have around 10 agencies that I work with who know me very well. We speak practically on a daily basis, whether it is to buy or to rent the properties we are buying. And they work very hard on it because they know that today with Dilip and Jet Set, that they can actually make a regular income. And networking with me is very good because what you get is like, you got agents moving from agencies. And then the next one who comes up calls me and says, I'm calling from so-and-so because you were dealing with Mr. XYZ and he's left and he's gone on to another company and I want to be your agent now. Can I show you something? Sure, show me something. So they know, most of the agencies know who I am. And their bosses also know who I am. So they obviously make sure that I don't go anywhere else so that I stay with them. And I have no issues with that because anyone who brings me a good deal, I'm obviously going to respond in a positive way. And if it works for me, why not?
Yeah, definitely. I know that obviously that's kind of how we met. You're a bit of a celebrity in the real estate world. I think if you don't or have not heard of Dilip, you're obviously not doing the right thing.
I don't know about that.
But it'd be interesting to find out what do you have any daily habits or routines that you would say contribute to your success? And, how do you maintain your productivity and your focus when you've got such a busy schedule?
I actually have a very non-fixed day, if you want to call it. I don't have any fixed habits or routines. I play it by ear. I know exactly what's going to happen for the week. I plan it in my phone. I have a diary in there in which I just mark out what I need to do. I'm very, very crazy about being on time. I'm very punctual. If I'm not there, either something's gone wrong, or I didn't confirm it. I know exactly that today I need to get these jobs done. I have a to-do list. And if I didn't complete it, it carries forward next day because maybe I couldn't complete it or someone who was supposed to help me complete it couldn't achieve what we had to do. Because I've learned in Dubai that things take time. And when people come here, they expect things to happen instantly. It doesn't. They have this magic word, bukra, inshallah, bukra, which is tomorrow, and hopefully it will happen by the grace of God, which is fine. I've learned that in 20 years, you've got to have patience in this country. You cannot expect everything to happen today, now, as you want it. It doesn't. But the way things are going, things are getting better, more efficient in Dubai. Everything is happening online.
Yeah.
It's picked up. But with regards habits and things, no, I don't have any fixed schedule. I play it by ear. I go with what I need to do today, tomorrow, whatever it is, and up to the next week. And I don't plan further than that unless I know something that's coming up, like a trip or a holiday or whatever. But that's about it. Otherwise, I'm here and I plan it day by day and week by week.
And that's obviously worked for you.
It's worked.
Yeah.
It's worked.
Yeah. And, you know, from an aspect of when you're trying to, when you're focusing on something, what's your kind of main goal? You know, what's your kind of, do you have a plan in mind? Do you always, I know how you're saying you kind of play it by ear daily, weekly, but, you know, do you have a kind of overall plan for the year, or how do you kind of, it's a bit of one of those if you play it by ear, but then you've also got a plan in the background, you know?
I came here in 2004, and I told the children that we need to do 20 and 10.
20 and 10.
Yeah. 20 million US dollars in 10 years. We achieved it in 5.
Wow.
And yes, as I told you earlier also, you need to know where you're going. You can't be driving from A to B without knowing the route. My plan is very simple. At the moment, we have 3 main businesses that we run. We run Capital Real Estate, we run Jet Set Business Centers, and I also have a part in Improve Me Institute, which is my wife's company, and that is based in Golden Diamond Park.
Yep.
The plan is to expand Jet Set Business Center to at least 5 locations in Dubai.
Okay.
Potentially 1 in Abu Dhabi. And we want to continue to be the best business center. I hope I'll get the best business center award this year. We had the new best business center. So hopefully we've done enough to do that. And with Improve Me also, which is my educational side, my sons run that with my wife. That one also we want to expand maybe to a second location. It's already, I think, it's outgrown the space that we've got now. So we get a lot of inquiries on a daily basis for Improve Me. So that is another thing that we need to look at and see where we can base another center. It's got to be very geographical to the schools.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but we get a lot of inquiries for that as well. But yeah, things are going in the right way. The plan is there, but we are sort of being dragged along with it because we are not pulling, it's pushing us in the direction it wants to go to, because we never thought the business center would be this successful. Neither did we think Improve Me would be this successful. It started from a small room, and now it's over 7,000 square foot in Golden Diamond Park.
Wow. And that, again, like you're saying, just taking the risk and obviously looking at it from an aspect.
That wasn't a risk.
No?
No. Improve Me wasn't a risk. Improve Me was a dream. My wife, Nita, had a hobby, a wish to teach children.
Okay.
And she has her own ways. She has special systems and programs, and she's doing that She enjoys it. It's she's not doing it for the money. I don't think it's going to ever make millions out of it. But she enjoys being busy.
Yeah,
that's her thing. And the boys also work there. They love it. I've got Nita, who's been teaching from a long time. Sean, who's my elder son. I think you've met him as well. Sean, so he's graduated from University College London. With a bachelor's honors degree.
Amazing.
In mathematics. And then he finished his master's at Imperial. And then you've got Jason, who is graduated from London School of Economics. So quite heavy focused on education. And they're using it to their best ability.
I can believe they've obviously got a role model and many in front of them that they can kind of bounce off and fire questions at any time of the day.
Yeah, definitely. They also love it because, at the moment they get about 400 children through the doors over there per week. So it's quite impressive that, these children come there and they just look up to these guys and like, we want to be like him. We want to be like him.
Yeah. On that, you've created significant wealth. What would you define as success? And, how would you, if you were to leave a legacy, which I'm sure you will, what would that look like, maybe both in business and personally?
Success is when you don't have to wake up in the morning and worry. Maybe it's naive to say that. I don't know. But there have been days when I've woken up and like, where's the money coming from to pay the bills? I've been in that position, so I know. Nowadays, when you wake up, it's like, okay, we're going to the office. It's going to be a fun day. It's going to be enjoyable. And if you don't make money, it's okay. It'll come tomorrow, whatever. Success is when the business runs itself. And you've got good people who support you, who manage it for you, and you just need to make those decisions to make sure that it does continue. Yeah. That's success. You don't need to play with the toy anymore. You don't need to touch it. You need to just make sure you give it the right amount of effort that keeps it going and it's on autopilot. Which is
not easy.
It's not easy. It takes time. It's a big effort in the beginning. I remember we were walking around Jet Set Business Center. We were walking around when we were in Capital Real Estate, when we were renting buildings. We stood there in 55 degrees heat and we were sweating from places we didn't even know we had. And it's that sort of thing that makes you remember where you've come from, and it tells you that, today you should be grateful to God for whatever you have today, because you have a lot more than, to be grateful for, because many people we know, they come to Dubai and they don't understand what it is that people are coming here for, because it's a tough life if you're not making money. It's not easy. Dubai is not a place if you're not making money. It's very difficult. And then it becomes even more irritating for somebody who doesn't have that opportunity. So I wish everyone gets the same opportunity that I've been given. I've been grateful for it. And yes, when I left from UK, my father was like, "Are you mad? Where are you going? It's hot there. And what are you going to do there?" And he was like, "You're taking the grandchildren," because for them, the grandchildren were very important. My mother cried and she goes, "You're taking my grandchildren away." Yeah. And I said, "Look, this is the one and only chance you get." And I'd actually read a book which a friend had told me to read, Conversation with God.
Okay.
And this book made you think that today God doesn't speak to you. The heavens don't open and a big booming voice doesn't come out and say, "Dilip, go here or go there and do this." It comes from other people's mouths. God speaks to you through other people. And it's up to you to listen, understand, and act. If you don't, that's your opportunity gone. The door does open for everybody. Yeah. But which door do you go in? Do you not go in? It's up to you. And that's what the whole life and the last 20 years have been about. That go through the door, check it out. Because somebody's telling you something to do. Could be right, could be wrong. But if you don't try, you'll never know.
I think this is why it's so important to have these kind of conversations with people like yourself. Because I'm sure there's been numerous amounts of people who've came, they've tried, they've had a bit of failure, they've had a setback, and it's like, that's it, it's over. Whereas, as you've said, you've already had setbacks, you've had those things, but you just kept pushing through. Yeah. And I think, it's important to get that message out. And for a lot of people who may be watching this, maybe there's something that they can take away from that helps them in those difficult times, because it sounds like it wasn't plain sailing for you.
Absolutely not. It was never plain sailing. It was never going to be plain sailing. The first thing that when you come here, it's a big change. When we came, Friday was the day off. Yeah. Thursday was a half day, and Sunday was back to work. Yeah. So that already was difficult to adjust to that. But we adjusted to that. Then the heat also kicks in. That also, when things are not going right, the heat gives you another, like, why is it so hot? And you're out in the car and the AC doesn't work. And, so many things that these are small, minor setbacks. But yes, I've seen major setbacks, and thankfully, we've been blessed and we are here still today. And it has worked.
Did you ever have a doubt that you wouldn't make it? When you first arrived, did you ever think to 1 minute, or should I say, did you have the mindset that it doesn't matter what happens, I'm going to push all the way till I get that Mercedes?
It had to be. I could not go back. I couldn't go back because it was a situation where it was either boom or bust. It had to finish in a positive and successful way.
Yeah.
There's no way I could have gone back to the UK. It had to, whether it was working for somebody here or being successful in my own business, which we've luckily been, it was not going to be any more than that. It had to be a full and utter, complete push towards that eventual goal that we had to succeed in.
Amazing. I'd like to thank you, Dilip, for coming on today. It's been fascinating hearing your story, very inspiring as well. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people who will be able to relate to a lot of things that you said today. Thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you, Mark, for inviting me. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you again for tuning in, and we look forward to seeing you on the next show.